Hey, what's up, lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss the 2014 action thriller horror film Godzilla. This is directed by Gareth something, I forget his name, starring Bryan Cranston, Aaron Taylor Johnson, the main man himself, Elizabeth Olsen's in this, a slew of other people are in this. Now, this came out in 2014, and Aaron and Elizabeth play husband and wife. And in 2015, in Avengers Age of Ultron, we are introduced to Wanda and Pietro Maximoff as brother and sister. So, those of you individuals who were not introduced to Aaron Taylor Johnson and Elizabeth Olsen as an acting pair prior to Age of Ultron, and then talk about it, years later, it shows. Because a year before they were husband and wife, and a year later they were brother and sister. The magic of Hollywood. Now, I'm a dinosaur kid, right? I'm a human kid who loved dinosaurs. My brother loved dinosaurs. We grew up on Jurassic Park. We grew up on the old school 1950s, 1960s Godzilla. Mothra, Mechagodzilla, King Ghidorah, like we had all the toys. I still have majority of my toys. Space Godzilla, I love Space Godzilla. So, like, we are also children of the 90s. I was born in 90, and he was born in 92. So I was 8 and he was 6, respectively, when Godzilla, the 1998 Matthew Broderick film, came out, attacking New York City. So, like, we had all of the toys, and our cousins had all of the toys, and we would play I'm a Godzilla kid, okay? So when they announced that this was coming out, I was super skeptical, but I was also super excited. So I saw it with my family in the theaters, 2014. Scared the crap out of me. And I say this because Godzilla films, the original, kaiju kind of films, you have this big monster, you have a guy in a monster suit and he's attacking a city, which is small scale, but like, it's like a big monster attacking a city. It's a kaiju. It's a big, big monster, right? So, like, this film is very suspenseful, and it's terrifying because of how realistic it's portrayed with tsunamis and earthquakes and, like, natural disasters. But it's being explained that these giant creatures who have inhabited the earth millions of years prior to humans are the ones that are causing all of these events. So it's, like, creepy watching someone's live feed when they're in Hawaii and there's a tsunami happening in real life, but then, like, you watch a tsunami happen in this film in Hawaii, and it's like too parallel, right? It's very creepy. That's why the Purge films creep me the freak out, because they're too hyper-realistic when it comes to America. Like, we are a horrid society when it comes to violence, and nothing is done about it. Absolutely nothing is done about it. Police brutality it hit the forefront in national angrance. Is that a word? Angrance. Last year in 2020, hence all of the marches. But then insurrections at the Capitol this past January 6th, 2021. Like, it's mass shooting after mass shooting. Each week there's a new mass shooting. Granted, there was no mass shootings during the pandemic, but you know that the pandemic is over, quote unquote, because the mass shootings started up again. We're on week 2 of 2 mass shootings back to back. It's horrendous, and I am well aware that the rest of the world laughs at us. Rome is burning. I don't know what to tell you. It's a matter of time before the new empire rises. So get on with it. Anyway, on a spiel. Godzilla. Okay, 2014's Godzilla. Creepy. Very creepy. We have Bryan Cranston being Aaron Taylor Johnson's father. He's in the first, 40 minutes of the film. Very creepy. They live in Japan. There's a nuclear reactor that, there's an accident, the factory explodes, basically, but, like, they're harnessing a lot of radiation, which is kind of feeding this, like, gigantic monster, MUTO. That's the acronym. I cannot remember for the life of me what the M and the O are. The U and the T is unidentified terrestrial. Couldn't tell you. Don't know what the M, don't know what the T is. But they call them mutos, right? Mutos are parasites. So these muto parasites, there's 2. One is in Las Vegas, one is in Japan. They both happen to come alive 15 years after the first, nuclear reactor thing, right? And so one escapes to Hawaii for some radiation as he's attacking a Russian submarine. The other is getting out of its cocoon, if you will, in Las Vegas. And, like, then they both converge into San Francisco. And meanwhile, Godzilla is fighting one of them along the way. And then there's the 3-on 2-on-1 fight in San Francisco, and then Godzilla is declared the king of monsters and, goes back to the ocean. That's the summary of the film. But how Aaron's character, Lieutenant Brody, he goes from helping his dad, helping Bryan Cranston prove that the town that they were in shouldn't be quarantined because there's nothing wrong with it, because it was an actual accident that they're hiding something. They're not, it wasn't an earthquake. They're actually hiding something, being this Mucho. So then Aaron then goes to Hawaii to then transfer to a plane to San Francisco or something like that, because Elizabeth Olsen, his wife, and their son Sam are in San Francisco. But then like Muto and Godzilla attack Hawaii, and then Aaron's character Brody like winds up joining the military there as well, to then go to San Francisco to help, deactivate some bomb because he's in an EOD squad, and I cannot remember the name of it. I think D is diffuser, but I don't remember the E and the O part. I don't know much about military terms, to be completely honest. So the Muto from Las Vegas and the Muto from Japan converge in San Francisco because they're male and female, and they've been mating, calling. That's what, these talking things that Bryan Cranston has heard, via sound wave. And then Godzilla is there to correct nature, as it will, as one of the Japanese, scientists whose father perished in Hiroshima at 8:15 a.m. on December 8th, I think, 1945. I can't remember when Hiroshima was at Nagasaki. I do not remember when those bombs struck. I need to look that up. It's 1945. I know that. And it was 8:15. He specifically made sure that we looked at the pocket watch. I don't remember, but it circles around radiation and stuff. So it's pretty cool having a scientific explanation that the bombs in the 1950s were not, just test bombs. They were actually to try to kill Godzilla, but then they realized that Godzilla was actually trying to help them all along. So it's like he's the king of monsters to keep everyone at bay. In Godzilla King of Monsters, the 2019 sequel, we did talk about that. We did review that. Pretty creepy film. Very creepy film. But like, that's pretty cool having the king of monsters being Godzilla yet again, even though King Ghidorah is perceived as the king, but he ain't no king. I have to see Kong on Skull Island. We have to talk about that because that was 2017. And then coming up next week, this is why we're cramming in Godzilla movies, is because Godzilla versus Kong is premiering on HBO Max. We just talked about Tom and Jerry, HBO Max. So now we're going to be watching Godzilla vs. Kong, HBO Max. I'm assuming I'm going to be rooting for Godzilla, but I need to watch Kong on Skull Island to get some ideas going. Who's going to win, Godzilla or Kong? Because they fight a lot in the original film. So we'll see. We went on a very long, rampant tangent, but we circled back. We did, as all good things in a rig light, perceives us to be. We circled back to our original point. Aaron Taylor Johnson bled on me once. That is a true fact. That was in 2019 on a film set in Brooklyn. That is an actual true fact on a film set called The Greatest. It was a movie. It starred Peter Parker. Oh my God, Susan Sarandon and Pierce Brosnan. That's the words I was trying to say. Aaron bled on me. I will hold that as a high marker. Great times. Great guy. And he's a great dad. I'm so happy seeing him and his wife, with their 2 kids. Like, it's great seeing. He's my age too. It's like weird. 2 totally different life paths. And he's British and he's gorgeous. And I'm just a troll. I live up to my Shrek name. Rambling again. We're done. We're done rambling. Godzilla. Good movie. Mahalo.